Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yasora Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yasora Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gaur Premanandi Adi Adi Bo Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Todayam Dirayat Nasta Preshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. All right. Canto 1, Chapter 9, The Passing Away of Bhishma Dev. And I think it was Anuradha. She gave class yesterday, and it was text 5. Because prior to that, it was text 4. And she did Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you. That's right. Yeah, I'm supposed to listen to her class later today. She's asked that we all do that. She's posting a very humble request to please point out any anomalies that may be there. She'd like us to do that. So I'll follow her instructions and listen. I'm sure it's a perfect class. She's a very sincere, wonderful devotee, and we're very lucky to have their family here. All right. So this is going to be text 5. And if you have your phone and you want to follow, otherwise I'll just read the Sanskrit and you got it, okay. Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayas Cha Sattama Rajarshayas Cha Tatrashan Dashtum Bharata Pungavam Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayas Cha Sattama Rajarshayas Cha Tatrasan Dashtum Bharata Pungavam Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayas Cha Sattama Rajarshayas Cha Tatrasan Dashtum Bharata Pungavam. Please chant. Haribo. Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayas Cha Sattama Rajarshayas Cha Tatrasan Dashtum Bharata Pungavam Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayas Cha Sattama Rajarshayas Cha Tatrasan Dashtum Bharata Pungavam Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayas Cha Sattama Rajarshayas Cha Tatrasan Dashtum Bharata Pungavam. Anyone else? Come on, Baba. You can do this. Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayas Cha Sattama Rajarshayas Cha Tatrasan Dashtum Bharata Pungavam. Haribo. All right, Govinda. Nice. Gold star. Okay. Translation. Tatra. We can read together if you like. Okay. Tatra, there, Brahma Rishaya, rishis among the Brahmanas, Sarve, all, Deva Rishaya, rishis among the demigods, Cha, and Sattama, situated in this quality of goodness, Raja Rishaya, rishis among the kings, Cha, and Tatra, in that place, Asan, were present, Drashtum, just to see, Bharata, the descendants of King Bharat, Pungavan, the chief of. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Just to see the chief of the descendants of King Bharata, Bhishma, all the great souls in the universe, namely the rishis among the demigods, brahmanas and kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there. Please repeat. Just to see the chief of the descendants of King Bharat, Bhishma, all the great souls in the universe, namely the rishis among the demigods, brahmanas and kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there. The rishis are those who have attained perfection by spiritual achievements. Such spiritual achievements can be earned by all, whether one is a king or a mendicant. Bhishma Dev himself was also one of the Brahmarshis and the chief of the descendants of King Bharat. All rishis are situated in the quality of goodness. All of them assembled there on hearing the news of the great warrior's impending death. Omagana Timrandasya Gana Gana Shalakaya Chakshura Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Chagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. This is a major event in the entire universe. Bhishma is known throughout the universe. When he appeared, Ganga, she was throwing all of his brothers in the Ganga, and his mother, rather, she was throwing all the babies, his little brothers, or big brothers rather, each one after the other into the Ganga. And the stipulation was, she told her husband, you cannot complain. Don't complain. If you complain, or you find fault with me, or you correct me, I will leave immediately. So, being a demigoddess and he being from the earthly planet, that was the arrangement. She was basically, assenting to marry him, but on that condition. So she already knew the destination of those brothers. And so when she became pregnant with Bhishma, the father had decided, I will stop her this time. She will not throw this one. And it was King Shantanu, who was the father of Bhishma? Shantanu. So there you are, Jinkya. You want to sit? You want to finish the class? It's like, poof, he is appearing. So this was very hard on Shantanu, very hard. Seeing all these beautiful babies getting tossed in the river, and then finally, 8th one, he said, nope, no, you will not throw this one. She said, oh, King, I would have saved this one. She said, I was not going to drown this one. I was going to present this one to you. And now I present him to you, and I will leave. And so she left, and so he raised him as a prince. All privileges, training, everything, every aspect, etiquette, shastra, weapons, fighting, diplomacy, kingship. He was completely trained, every inch, and such a qualified soul. But then he found out that his father was very morose. He saw his father very sad, and the sad father was, carrying on his business, but very, very depressed. He had met this beautiful devotee woman who was a boatman's daughter, and he wanted to marry her. And the father of her decided, no, you may not marry my daughter, because he knew there would be too much intrigue. But the king was smitten. He said, that's it, I don't want anyone else, and I have to marry her. And so Bhishma talked to his father, Father, what is going on? And father, he explained everything to him. And the son was determined to please his father, so he went and he negotiated. Is it Satyavati? Is that the boatman's daughter? Satyavati? So he negotiated with the Satyavati's father and said, please, you must accept my father. My father has asked to marry your daughter, and he's the king, and we should, give to the king. Oh, no. We will not give to the king because his progeny will not inherit any kingdom. They will not have any privileges. And it is to no advantage to my daughter. Therefore, it's no advantage to me. And Bhishma, being as wonderful as he is, he said, are you expecting, he understood right away what the man was expecting. He said, I will not become king. I will not accept. He said, but what about your children? Then he said something very terrible. That's where the name Bhishma comes from. Then I will not marry, ever, no woman, no wife. And when the demigods heard that, the whole universe shook. The whole universe, Bhishma, Bhishma, Bhishma. They were just showering flowers and flowers and just unending flowers on him. And they, all the souls were just shocked with wonder at this soul. Who is this? This great personality. And, brought tears to the eyes of the boatman, brought tears to the eyes of his father, brought tears to the eyes of Satyavati, who was now his stepmother, going to become his stepmother. And it was very incredible, because someone so qualified, super qualified, to not have the kingship, very difficult for the common person to comprehend. Okay, so going forward, we all know from Mahabharata the intrigues and the difficulties that ensued. Satyavati indeed married King Shantanu, and she did have children, but there were difficulties with each one of them. And Bhishma dutifully went out and got wives for each one of them. He was the overseer, big brother, uncle, caretaker, helper, facilitator of the whole family. And so it was very difficult. It was not an easy situation. Those sons were not destined to live very long. Then Satyavati, the whole dynasty rested on her shoulders, because King Shantanu passed away. Then she had to somehow figure out, okay, how to carry on. And from a previous connection, she had given birth to Vyasadeva. And it was incredible how that happened. That's a whole other story. So she was told by her son, Mother, I will go live as an austere mendicant, but anytime you need me, you may call me. And so she had to invoke that, because Bhishma reminded her, you have that blessing. And so she did. And he helped the wives of her deceased sons conceive. And then we know that's how Dhritarashtra and Pandu and our beloved Vidura, the most wonderful Vidura. And so the whole time Bhishma is overseeing everything. He's helping, he's making sure they get trained, he's making sure that that the boys are looked after, that the children are properly trained. Even Dhritarashtra, being blind, he gave him so much validation and gave him so much training, because he's a royal son, and he should have got that training, so he did. But because he was blind, it was understood that Pandu would be heir to the throne. And of course, Vidura, being the son of a maidservant, he could not inherit the throne. So, but he was still given training and given wonderful care under Bhishma Dev. So Now it's going forward, and where are we now? We've gone through, they've been raised, they've had to go through tremendous intrigue year after year after year. Finally, it comes down to this. This is Dhritarashtra's declaration. I will not give you as much land as you can put the point of a pen. This is how difficult and terrible the mentality of Dhritarashtra is. And we have to see that is the, we want to cooperate with an ISKCON. We don't want to be like Dhritarashtra. We don't want to be like Dushashan. We don't want to be like Duryodhana, who's refusing to give anything. They are like greed personified, and they have no scruples. And Bhishma, the whole time, he is tolerating all this because, he's accepting maintenance and residence where they are. And he feels obligated to reciprocate and to serve. But his heart is with the Pandavas. And it's pretty obvious. And even Duryodhana knows that. Dushashan, Duryodhana, all the senior brothers, they all know. And Bhishma is with us, but we know his heart is with Arjuna and with Yudhishthir and Bhima and the twins, Nakula and Sahadev. So it's going forward all the way, and finally they go to war, and war is 18 days. Was it 600 million have passed away? Some unbelievable number of soldiers have died, and Bhishma is still on the battlefield. Because at the time of his accepting his renunciation, he was told by his father that he will only pass away when he chooses to. And he's so powerful that he's holding his life air in the bones of his body. And because he's not eating, it's just flesh and bones. And he's on a bed of arrows. And no one can live like that. There's no one that has that capability on earth unless they're benedicted. And he had that capability. So he's circling his life arrows, just waiting for the sun to travel to the north. And in the meantime, Yudhishthir is distraught. Okay, so now he's got the kingdom. And he's really depressed. Not even Krishna can console him. He's so depressed that he feels that he's the most sinful person, that he is the worst, and no one will have benefit with him as the king. And Krishna is desperately trying to, seemingly desperate. He's confident that Bhishma will totally convince him. But he's behaving as a very concerned cousin brother. You must accept the kingship, and you must not blame yourself. This is the will of the Supreme. And this is my will, Yudhishthir. And even Yudhishthir was on the battlefield, and he saw everything Arjuna saw. Universal form, he heard the Bhagavad Gita. But Arjuna, totally understood, yet Arjuna was unable to console him. So they go to Bhishma. And so it says that the rishis are those who have attained perfection by spiritual achievements. So you can see how Bhishma is the epitome of a Raja Rishi. He's the best of the saintly kings. He has attained pure motive goodness, because in his heart, he's only thinking of Krishna. He's not thinking of mystic perfection or any power or anything like that. He has no mundane thoughts, no profit, no adoration, no distinction or fame. He's only thinking about Krishna all the time. And he's just waiting for his darshan with Krishna, lying on that bed of arrows. All the great souls of the universe, namely the rishis among the demigods, brahmanas and kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there just to see the chief of the descendants of King Bharat. Yeah. So, says such spiritual achievements can be earned by all, whether one is a king or a mendicant. This shows the beauty of ISKCON, that Srila Prabhupada gave us a beautiful formula, and we just follow that formula to the best of our ability. Sometimes our health makes it so that we follow it at home, but that's all right. You get the benefit. So if you follow at home or you follow here at the temple, you follow the process of Krishna consciousness, rising early, sanctifying your body, cleaning yourself, and then chanting the Mangalarti prayers. Srila Prabhupada laid it all out. And chanting the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. And, then we are chanting japa, worshiping Tulsi Devi, then chanting japa, and then we're greeting the Lord in his beautiful outfit, which is super stunning today. Hopefully you'll take extra darshan today. It's super beautiful. And then we want to hear about the glories of the devotees, namely Bhishma. Today we're hearing about him. Bhishma Dev himself was also one of the Brahmarshis and the chief of the descendants of King Bharat. All rishis are situated in the quality of goodness. So here is a warrior that is so qualified, Bhishma, but yet he's situated in the mode of goodness. Because to be a warrior, don't you have to be like a little bit passionate? And yet he could exhibit the passion, but then he could pull it back. He controlled it just like a rein on a chariot or like the string on a bow. He was able to draw it and pull it back, and just control it. So that's a Raja Rishi. He is completely situated in the quality of goodness. And that's the hardest thing, is goodness in the morning, right? The alarm clock. No, it's not 4 o'clock. Forget it. No, it can't be. Anyway, his mind is like not wanting to jump there. And if you just say, oh, yeah, you should go there, you'll be happy. And then, oh, okay, I'll be happy. Anyway, so we have to sometimes trick ourselves into the mode of goodness. And what is it called? Imitation of a good thing is desirable. So, we're just here to glorify those in that permanent mode of goodness, and then by that we come to the mode of goodness, just by that glorification. That's how it happens, like that, by osmosis, by their mercy. All of them assembled there on hearing the news of the great warrior's impending death. Srila Gurudev talked about that. Okay, so how did they find out? How did they find out that it was time for Bhishma to depart? There wasn't internet or TV or, CNN or any of these big news channels. Nothing like that. So they found out through the heart. Just like Sanjaya is describing the battlefield to Dhritarashtra because he couldn't see. But Sanjaya was blessed by his spiritual master, Vyasadeva, to be able to see. And that's how the news traveled, from one heart to another, one person to another. And it spread very fast. All the demigods, the brahmanas, the kings on other planets, we have to go. We have to go now. And they were all assembled there in the, hovering above the battlefield and all around. So it's quite a scene. And as soon as Yudhishthir gets there and all his brothers, they all bow down. And that bowing is the submission of the head lower than the heart. That means that you become, it's the yoga asana of the child pose. And it brings the head below the heart. Why? Because even Daksha got his head cut off and got the head of a goat, and he could remember everything. Why? Because it's in his heart. So that's what they did. That's the first thing they did, is they bowed down. And Krishna bowed down also. Lord Shri Krishna, he's so worthy of every worship, and he was bowing at the lotus feet of Bhishma Dev. All right. I think I've harassed you long enough. It's 8:08. It's kind of early. You have any more discussion here? You want to open the floor? Let's open some discussion.
Thank you, Mother Kunti, for the wonderful class.
Thank you, Prabhu.
A question that comes up is, you're talking about these demigods who heard through the heart and assembled to see Bhishma Dev before he left this world. And for people in today's age who don't see demigods or don't see these higher beings coming to this planet, it can be hard to hear these pastimes and understand that it's factual. Can you speak on this? How we can understand that higher beings did or do come to this planet, although we have not seen that in our experience here?
Srila Prabhupada, thank you. That's such a good question. Srila Prabhupada, the devotees early in Los Angeles, they had this really nice gathering, and they'd even called the press, and they had called so many guests, and no one showed up. They had the most amazing kirtan, the most amazing prasadam. Of course, there was so much prasadam left over, and the devotees were all, feeling very sheepish, and they came to Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada, we feel so sad because no one came. Prabhupada said, "What? You didn't see?" He said, "Narada Muni was there. All his associates were there. They were all there. It was wonderful. This was a wonderful program." And Srila Prabhupada was over the moon. He was so happy with it. And so sometimes you're here and we can't see them, but we can feel them. And I know you felt it in the temple room when there's a really good kirtan. I felt it. There's some electricity in the air. All of a sudden, something's happening, and you can feel it. It's just circling the whole temple room. And I feel it's just incredible. It's incredible. And that's when you hear devotees, Haribo, Haribo. They're like, Haribo. Jumping up and down, because they're feeling this ecstasy. They know that there's some higher beings. They're being blessed, and they're there. And it takes some sensitivity. 16 rounds is like the softening of the heart, and that 16 rounds helps us, open up. My husband is so strict on 16 rounds. He's every day. And his heart is just like butter. It's just soft like anything. He's just like, it's just humble, so humble. So, it takes, what was that challenge Srila Prabhupada got? Show me God, right? And Srila Prabhupada, see, you don't have the eyes. You have to get the eyes. So the process is getting the eyes, right? You follow the process of rising early, chanting, praying to the Lord, praising the pure devotee, the spiritual master, and the eyes, they come. They come. After it takes time. So yeah, that's what I would say. It's like George Harrison's "The taste of the pudding is in the eating." So if you're having that sadhana pudding, it happens. And then at first it's kind of bitter, the sadhana pudding. And then but more you taste, you're going like, man, this is good. This tastes so good. And you want more. So, yeah, I don't know. Does that answer anything? What do you think?
That's helpful. And I'm thinking at the stage I'm at currently, there are things that I can see clearly that I used to be blind to. And it's small, but I can understand that if after some years of practice, my eyes are opened for like psychological things, I can just see more clearly my anartas, for example, which I used to not even recognize were unwanted. I used to just totally identify with my mind and my illicit desires. But now I can see, these are harmful and these are not me. So I can understand that by more purity of consciousness, I could see things that I'm currently blind to. Thank you for that.
Thank you. The quality of introspection. Srila Gurudev Tamal Krishna Goswami used to praise Satsvarup Maharaj. He said, your quality of introspection is so dear to me. He said, and just the other day, yesterday, one of our Gurukul students was having problems with her mind, and she was going to be in a play, and she didn't want to do it because she said, I'm a failure and I'll fail and it'll be horrible. And our beautiful Krishna Priya, what she did, she said, now, you have good thoughts and bad thoughts. So you have to look at both of them and you have to say, which ones are helping me, right? And so you turn the bad thoughts into bugs and you just let them fly away. And you turn the good thoughts into prasadam and you keep those, and she liked that. The young student, she liked that very much. She went, okay, I like that. And so she just, it's Radhanath Maharaj's good dog, bad dog, same thing. You feed the good dog and you neglect the bad dog. Because the bad dog is just bad. He wants to be separate. And the good dog is the one that's saying, no, this is where we belong. And this is what we want to do. And then someday the bad dog just passes away. And there's only one good dog. That's it. Bad dog goes away and becomes earth for more good dogs. So that's the beauty, right? All right, it's 8:15. Anybody else? Jai. Come on, go.
We're not letting you go just yet.
Yeah, right.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a wonderful class. Brihat Madanga Prabhu just made me remember a question that I actually asked my husband recently, and he knows a lot of stuff, but he didn't know the answer to this. So I have become very fond of Narada Muni over the last year as I've been making my way through Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm on 11th canto now, but he really captured my heart in the 6th and 7th canto. And I had recalled, similar to the story you just told about, there was a kirtan at 26 2nd Avenue that Yamuna Devi led. And Srila Prabhupada, it was very small, I think, and Srila Prabhupada said Narada Muni came. So my question about I have a question about Narada Muni. So from hearing the pastimes of Prabhupada, I understand that Narada Muni visits kirtans, and he got that wonderful blessing curse in Srimad Bhagavatam where he's not allowed to stay in one place, so he's always traveling the universes, spreading the holy name. But do we know, does he go to all kirtans? Or does he just go to the ones where, you're losing your mind with Kadamba Kanana Swami?
Oh, I am so unqualified to answer that question. Thank you, Mandrika, for giving me some humble pie here. I need it. I beg your forgiveness. I'm unable to answer that. I know that I'll say this. I mean, having a almost 66-year-old body, and you want it to jump off to touch the ceiling, yeah, there's something going on. That's all I know. I don't have the eyes to see Narada Muni, but I can understand the attachment. Such a great story. And he's completely open about it. And so wonderful. He's just he's there. We know he's there. And I mean, ISKCON is blessed. It's gotten the approval, and the demigods are pleased with ISKCON. They're pleased with this international society for Krishna consciousness, because it's feeding them. The root of the tree is being watered, and you water the root, and all the leaves flourish. So all the demigods are flourishing. They're feeling it. Oh, that's all I've got. I'm sorry. All right. Yes, Priya.
So one perspective is that Krishna's holy name contains everything. His associates are there in his holy name. The whole spiritual world is there in his holy name. So I don't know if there's a difference if we're just chanting for sense gratification or if we're chanting for,
Yes.
In pure love.
Right.
But I imagine, at the least, if you're chanting with genuine sincerity and all the devotees are nicely cooperating, then why wouldn't the whole spiritual world be there? Why wouldn't all the demigods and all of Krishna's associates be right there?
Why not? Why not? Yeah, and the beauty of Sri Narada Muni, I know that he's the sage among the demigods. He's the guru of all the demigods. They all take shelter of Narada Muni. And I had a mixed relationship with Narada Muni because when I first heard that he was giving Kamsa advice, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is too much. And then I understood why. He was the catalyst. He was bringing Krishna. He said, come on, let's clear the way for the Lord. And so that's what he was doing. And then I understood. Then I realized how special. Ajinkya Prabhu, you got anything to add? Yes.
One point I was thinking
Yes.
in the verse that about associating with senior devotees, all the great sages, including like in the next verse, we will see how even Shukdev Goswami and all the great sages have come to associate with Bhishma Dev, who was himself a very great devotee of Mahajan. So what I learned from, along with what you said, what I also understood and learned is that how we should always seek association of senior devotees, especially the ones who are leaving this planet.
Yes.
Especially in like today's, we see disciples of Prabhupada who are very old, how we should always seek the association as much as possible. So that's what one point that I like,
Very nice.
like a practical point for all of us. But yeah, it was a wonderful class, Mataji. Thank you so much for
and another
covering me.
Yeah, Ajinkya Prabhu, that's perfect. Another thing is make notes, like whatever they say, and then go back to the notes. That's what you can do. I go back through my diaries and I see instructions that Srila Gurudev gave me. Like he even gave me a sweet recipe, called me upstairs, said, okay, this is what you do. You mix this and that. And I wrote the whole thing down, and I'm so grateful that I did. And he did other and very pertinent instructions also. And I'm glad I wrote it all down. Yeah, make a record and go back to it, because then you're reassociating. You know, it's like, imagine you can capture it in time. You capture that by writing it down and reflecting. Vishtadimna, anything? You got anything?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as Brihat for the Narada Muni question. I was like, well, you could look at it that way. And then also Ajinkya Prabhu, I was thinking the same thing about, we're seeing like Bhishmadev is the acharya for passing away. He's teaching us how to pass away, and how fortunate we would be if we were around devotees at that time.
Yeah. And have that level of control that he has.
I think this is about to die, but
Mm-hmm. 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 Very good. Mm-hmm. It's a personal meditation, but I sometimes imagine myself under the toenail of somebody. Just, I'm taking shelter of their lotus feet. That's what I do. It's a personal meditation. So you just try to keep that humble mood. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Lord Nrsimhadev ki jai. Protecting ISKCON ki jai. Shri Bhishma Dev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Haribol.